Okay, so what if I told you that our planet is basically a giant living library, and it's filled with millions and millions of incredible stories? Well, that's pretty much what biodiversity is. It's the entire collection of every living thing, from a tiny little germ to a massive blue whale. Today, we're going to crack open that library and check out a few of those stories. So let's just dive right in.
Seriously, just think about it for a second. Go beyond the animals you see at the zoo or the plants in your own backyard. How many different kinds of life do you think there really are? Hundreds? Maybe thousands? The real number is, well, it's almost too big to wrap your head around, and scientists are still out there trying to count them all.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll get into what this incredible variety of life actually is. Then, we'll talk about why it's so important for you personally. We'll also have to look at some of the dangers it's facing. But most importantly, we'll explore how we can all be part of the solution to protect our planet's future.
All right, let's kick things off with the big idea itself. Section 1. Life's amazing variety. What in the world are we even talking about when we use a word like biodiversity?
To put it simply, biodiversity is, well, all of it. Every single living thing. And a really cool way to think about it is like a giant toolbox. Every single species, no matter how big or small, is like a different tool that helps keep the whole world running just right.
Now, scientists like to look at this whole variety thing on 3 different levels. First, you've got genetic diversity. This is all about the small differences inside a single species. It's the reason we have so many different dog breeds, right? From a huge Great Dane to a tiny little Chihuahua. Then there's species diversity. This is the one we usually think of. All the different types of creatures and plants out there, lions, ladybugs, and sea stars. And finally, there's ecosystem diversity, which is all the different homes that life has made for itself, from a blazing hot desert to a colorful coral reef.
But here's the thing. This variety of life isn't spread out evenly. Not at all. Some places are just absolutely jam-packed with different species. Take tropical rainforests. They cover a pretty small slice of the Earth's land, but believe it or not, they are home to roughly half of all known species. That's an incredible concentration of life compared to places like deserts or the icy poles.
So, what's the grand total? How many species are there? The honest truth is, we don't actually know for sure. Scientists have already named millions of species, but they think there could be tens of millions more that we haven't even found yet, especially insects. And here's the really crazy part. Many of these unknown species could actually disappear, go extinct, before we ever even get the chance to discover them.
Okay, so it's cool that there are millions of species out there, but why should you care? Well, Section 2 is all about that. It's about why this whole thing matters and how this giant library of life actually helps you personally every single day.
Remember that toolbox analogy? Well, every tool has a really important job. Plants, they make the very oxygen we need to breathe. Bees and other bugs, they're responsible for pollinating a huge chunk of the food we eat. Predators like wolves or sharks, they keep other animal populations from getting out of control. And even tiny little fungi and bacteria have a critical job, breaking down all the dead stuff and turning it back into healthy soil. It's like a giant, perfectly connected team.
Here's a fantastic way to picture this. Imagine a healthy ecosystem is like a perfectly built Jenga tower. Each and every block is a different species, and they all fit together to keep that tower standing up tall and strong.
So what happens when you start pulling blocks out of that Jenga tower? Well, when a species disappears, the whole structure gets weaker, right? More wobbly. It can't handle challenges like pollution or extreme weather nearly as well. And if you pull out too many of those key pieces, the whole system can just come crashing down.
And that, unfortunately, brings us to a more serious topic. Section 3, a world in danger. Because right now, that Jenga tower of life is starting to look pretty darn shaky. So let's take a look at the threats our planet's biodiversity is up against.
Over its long history, Earth has seen these incredible explosions of new life, but it has also seen 5 massive extinction events where a huge number of species got wiped out completely. Now, here's the scary part. Many scientists believe we are now living right in the middle of the 6th mass extinction. And this one's different because it's being caused by us, by human activity.
So what exactly are we doing that's causing this? Well, the main culprits are pretty clear. We're cutting down forests, the very homes where most species live. We're using up natural resources, things like water, wood, and fish, way faster than they can grow back. We're polluting our land, our water, and our air. And of course, our changing climate is making it impossible for lots of species to survive where they've always lived.
And all these threats are having a real, measurable impact. The time period since 1970, which is probably around when your parents or grandparents were kids, has seen a truly dramatic change in the natural world. 73%. Let that sink in for a second. Since 1970, the populations of mammals, birds, fish, reptiles, and amphibians that scientists are tracking have dropped by an average of 73%. That is a massive, massive decline in just a few decades. It really shows how serious this has become.
Okay, I know that was heavy, but this story is definitely not over. And this next part is maybe the most important part of all. Section 4, how we can help. Because the good news is you, yes you, can absolutely be part of the solution.
And look, it doesn't have to be super complicated. Here are 4 simple but really powerful steps. First, we can protect natural spaces, support local parks, and conservation efforts. Second, we can all try to reduce the amount of stuff we use and recycle everything we can. Third, we can just make smarter, more eco-friendly choices about the things we buy. And fourth, and this one might be the most powerful of all, we can just keep learning and then share what we know. Tell your friends, tell your family. Your voice really, really matters.
And you know what? It's not just up to us as individuals. On a global scale, countries are finally starting to work together on this. There are these huge agreements, like the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework, that are bringing nations together to create a real, worldwide plan to protect and restore nature. So there is hope, and there is a plan in motion.
So let's bring it all home with our last section, Our Planet, Our Future. Because you see, this isn't just a story about cute animals and pretty plants. It's the story of our own survival. When it comes right down to it, protecting biodiversity means protecting ourselves. Remember that Jenga tower? Well, we're blocking that tower too. We depend on all these natural systems for the food we eat, the water we drink, and even the very air we breathe. It's simple. A healthy planet is the only way we can have healthy people.
And that brings us right to our final thought. Look, this isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's just about starting somewhere. So I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. What is one small choice you can make, just this week, that helps protect our planet's incredible, amazing library of life? Thanks for joining me.